I'm going to play a little trick. You know, it's near the end of the day. You might be flagging. You may not have had enough Fritz Cola. I just downed one back there, so I'm ready to go. I'm going to speak in English because I don't speak German, and that's my little trick, maybe to keep you all awake, active, engaged, and thinking. So yeah, my name's Shaun. I work for Dataiku. We're an AI platform company with European roots and a global presence today. And I want to speak today about a ticking time bomb in your industry. It used to be my industry too. So immediately before coming to Dataiku, I worked in an automotive services organization, and many of your employers were my customers. And that ticking time bomb is the tragically underused talent that you may be ignoring and not leveraging to get more value from your data. And it might be, and I think it is, right in front of your nose. Or to put a positive spin on it, right? The tremendous opportunities should you choose to unlock that talent and set them loose, solving problems. What is this problem I'm talking about? It's all very dangerous sounding. Let me illustrate that problem and that opportunity with a story from my own background in this industry. So my former company had as its customers the UK divisions of every major manufacturer in this room. And I once had a very peculiar conversation with the person responsible for selling the used cars that employees and dealerships had special access to. So they're nearly new cars, low mileage. And this person had come to my company for help, because we sold a lot of these sort of special vehicles through wholesale auctions. And so we had really rich data on their price performance, right? These cars command a bit of a premium in the used car market. These, the ex-employee, ex-dealership, they've been really looked after. They're basically new cars, and they have higher-end levels of specification. But my friend, wasn't my friend, guy on the end of the phone, had a bit of a problem. For him to accurately price these vehicles and sell them for the maximum profit, he needed to know what optional extras had been installed on the vehicle when it rolled off the factory line in Germany. And it turned out, you're all sitting down, it's good, we as a third-party data provider had better answers to that question about what was put on the vehicle in the factory than an employee of the company that built the car. You look confused? Good. Has anyone ever had an experience like that where working for a large complex organization, you thought, surely I can get that data from those other people because we all work for the same brand, right? Has anyone ever experienced anything like what I was talking about? I'm in the wrong room. No, you saved me. Thank you. Good. Has anyone lived inside that story in any context of, I'm in this complex organization. My company built that car. I have a job to do related to that vehicle, right, in its afterlife once it rolls off the factory floor. Why can't I get value from that data? Why can't I do my job? Why are you holding me back? This guy got a spreadsheet emailed to him with a very long text description of the full vehicle. And then he had to manually turn that into columns of ticking boxes of, yes, it has the sunroof, yes, it has the premium sport wheel suspension package, etc. So part of my mission, part of my reason for being is to change that story. And I think some of you might be trying to change that story. I hope that's an exception. That happened about 5 years ago. I have a sneaking suspicion that if I called the person back, they might still be struggling with the same problem. I couldn't be from an AI vendor and not mention generative AI. Such a well-known problem that even DALL-E could generate some good pictures from the prompt. A used car salesman struggles to access reliable data to give a price to each vehicle. So I hope we're trying to change that story and stop repeating that kind of problem, because there's a bit of a political challenge here. I think Dr. Gregor may not be here anymore. Maybe this is one for him. But if I say auto worker, many people outside this room would think of people on the factory floor, right? But this number surprised even me, having worked in the company, in the industry. So a lot of the focus of data and AI has been on robots in production, and now it's moving into the vehicle to help autonomous driving happening and everything else that people have been talking about today. But honestly, I would be, if I was looking at the generative AI revolution that I think we're now in, I'd be much more concerned about those supporting functions, right? The 80% of this workforce that is doing something else, that is the people, that story I shared, that's not a unique person I was talking about. That's potentially 80% of the people working for the manufacturers. And it's increasingly difficult for me to see how those 11 million people will not be made obsolete sooner than I ever thought was possible. And I've worked in the AI space. That's why I say it's a political challenge. It's probably time I got to some good news, and it's this, right? So when McKinsey looked at the value chains of every single industry a few years back, they found this thing that we call the long tail effect at Dataiku. And in automotive, what this means is that a full third of the potential value of fully applying AI to your value chain comes from that 80% of the workforce that is outside the core production and manufacturing part of the organizations. And there's some really good news. A lot of getting that value is often a lot easier than building autonomous driving, right? That's a really hard AI problem, right? But there's a full third of the total value available to your industry, used to be my industry, is kind of just sitting there, but it's sitting there in the domains of people who don't have the technical expertise of the people working to make cars drive themselves. I mentioned we see this pattern all the time. We call it the long tail of AI use cases. So it's definitely true that a huge amount of the value, 2/3 of the value, right, is going to come from those super complex, high-value use cases that you're going to need differentiated expertise to crack. But what we see time and time again at Dataiku, and this is what our platform helps you do, is get to all the rest of the value, right? This 80% of the workforce not in core manufacturing, that's not unique to your industry either. Data experts are scarce, but the good thing is, for every data expert that you have, you may have 20 people who are more than data savvy enough to start applying AI to the data that you have and solving some pretty important problems like how do we price all of these used vehicles from that manufacturer, that problem that I was on the phone to with someone about 5 years ago. And this was recognized by customer, slightly different flying car industry at the start of their journey with Dataiku about 5 years ago. So not only did empowering what we call them domain experts to become data professionals, it didn't just solve that talent gap, right? There are many other benefits when you put data and then increasingly AI in the hands of all of these people who are not experts on day one. You get better insights into processes. You put the decision-making about how the change that will come from using data in the hands of the people who can actually make the change. And what does that mean tangibly for GE Aviation? Thousands of people transforming their daily job, right? Changing their daily job, outrunning the obsolescence, right, that is coming for many of those jobs that are not in the core manufacturing part, and generating millions and hundreds of millions of benefit along the way, which is also really good when it pays for itself. So if you think back to that story and how we could change it, right? How could we change that story that I told you, which still sticks in my mind? So this is a different kind of story from a customer, and this is why I get out of bed and do this job, because we help create people like Anna. Her job used to be someone else built something. It cost a ton of money. It wasn't very sophisticated. She used to just have to keep that thing running. And now her boss asks her, what do you need to innovate? Which is just a really awesome thing in 2023, I think, to be asked. So to summarize, I'll just leave you with the question, how long will you wait to go after that long tail? My colleague Fabian here had a great conversation this morning with someone who said, I've got 22 years of financial data. Is that enough to do forecasting? Yes. Yes. You shouldn't wait. You already have the data that you need to take this opportunity. It's just sitting there. But yeah, AI is coming for every job, right? And it's going to change every job in ways that we don't quite understand. But what we can do, we can invest now to turn the talent we have, that you have, into a different kind of talent. And that's what Dataiku is here to do. We're on the booth by the football table. So if you're playing football and you see a nice teal background and a little bird, come and talk to us, and we'll help make that happen for you. Thank you very much.